Now, only just recently, like say about a month ago, I watched Taken, and I thought it was a pretty cool film. I can understand why people love it, and also why Liam Neeson has become such a badass. But I also got a sort of bigger picture on why we really didn't need a sequel to the film, because it didn't really much need a sequel. It didn't at all. Like, the film ended perfectly, you know, it ended well, and I think they should have stayed with that, because a sequel to a film that doesn't really need a sequel normally means a couple of things. Either they're just trying to broaden the story so they can, you know, get a bit more sort of character, get to know your characters a bit more, or they're just basically thinking because the film was such a success they can make a lot of money by making a sequel and not caring much about, you know, story, character development, you know, everything like that. And you know what? It's definitely the second one, and it's not even that good. The story is, right, Liam Neeson is in Istanbul, right? I think he was doing a job there for someone, and he kind of like, at the start of the film, he kind of like invited like his, you know, his ex-wife and his daughter to come over, you know, to sort of chill and relax because they're having a bit of trouble. They surprise him, but all along I think it's the father of the guy that Liam Neeson killed in the first film wants to seek revenge, and so what does he do? Well, he takes the ex-wife and also Liam Neeson, and you have your film. Now, Liam Neeson really still kicks ass in this film. He's still really good. And Maggie Grace is actually really good. I'm a lot better in this film than I've seen her in previous films. But this is where the problem starts. The problem is, sequels tend to be a thing of like more action, you know, more explosions, more this and more that. There's not really quite a lot of it. And even when there is kind of that kind of stuff, you're kind of just left a bit bored. Liam Neeson is basically kind of like, you know, he's kind of like invincible in a way. Like, no one can take this guy down. The only time he was taken down because he kind of let them take him down, basically. And there's just something that really drives me crazy. Like, there's just some things that just don't make sense. I mean, the film, right, throughout the film, they throw grenades, right, at random places, right. You would think that someone would think, why is there explosions happening in, you know, in Istanbul? Why? And they would hunt person down to discover who's causing all this. And this happens kind of, you know, maybe throughout the film a wee bit. Other thing is like, oh, you know, they crash, Maggie Grace and Liam sort of crash in to something, and yeah, everything seems fine after it. One other thing is though that the villain for the film, right? I have no idea what this guy's problem is. The guy literally is the worst villain I've seen this year. I mean, hell, the villain in Ghost Rider 2 at least had a purpose and nearly did the job done. This one, you know, he captures Liam Neeson, right? And he brings in his ex-wife, kind of like, sort of like cuts her kind of cheek or whatnot, puts her upside down, you know, to watch her die. And what does he do? He leaves. Don't leave when you've got him in the building, because he's going to find a way to escape and he's going to kill your men. But also, he just does stupid things, really stupid things. And like his like crew or, you know, cronies or whatnot are really, you can honestly tell that they're a part of a gang because they don't really hide it very well. And to me the film seemed a bit rushed, but it kind of has that sort of copy-paste feel at the start. I thought I was watching the first film again, like all over. And I just think this film, it just has no lasting appeal whatsoever. I'm not really saying the film's bad or anything, like, it's a watch, but it's more like a watch you'll find like on the telly or like a rental or something. It's one of those sort of worth watching. It's not the worst film I've seen, but it's certainly not even a decent film I've seen this year. It's really disappointing. In fact, this is probably one of my worst disappointing films I've seen this year. And for that alone, the score I'm going to give it is 3.5 out of 10. It's not the worst film I've seen, okay? It's not the best. But if you loved the first one, save a bit of money and buy it on DVD or on Blu-ray, because you'll get more enjoyment in that way, and you kind of won't feel you've just been sort of ripped off.